Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Disney Vacation Club Show. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends, Ms. Jackie Gailey.
Hi, everyone.
And from the timeshare store, Mr. Jerry Saito.
Hello.
And Timeshare Store is an official sponsor of the Diz, and they're the sponsor of this show, so you can check them out, their website at dvcstore.com, or give them a call, 1-800-550-6493. You're also going to want to sign up for their email blast because they are giving away a $50 gift card at random to one lucky person each month who signs up for it. So you can head out to their website, dvcstore.com, and sign up for their mail blast and find out about all the great listings that are going up. I have a love-hate relationship with your email list. I have a love-hate relationship with it because it comes through and I see it and I start looking, going, oh, that looks good. Oh, look at that one. That one's got all those points. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And it really, add-on-itis, it's a terrible affliction.
And it's good to, you keep up with the market too. Even if you're not really buying, but you kind of want to see what's going on, it's good to see where the market is, where the prices are.
Totally.
Exactly.
It's always good to be in the know.
Yeah.
Exactly. And of course, in my opinion, my humble opinion, the best source of DVC information you'll find anywhere, the Disney Vacation Club forums on disboards.com. Great group of people, really friendly, willing to help and answer questions, and they do it with such great patience, especially I think they're going to be more patient with me because I own the site, but I notice, a lot of newbies posting, especially since we started doing these shows. The Purchasing DVC forum itself, the traffic to that forum has gone up almost 40% since we started doing these shows.
That's awesome.
And it was already a busy forum. The DVC forums are routinely in the top 10 of the Diz, of Diz boards. So for one forum to get a 40% jump, that's pretty good. So
that's really fun.
I'm really happy you guys are looking into it and using that particular resource. Is just so much great information. It has been such a huge help to me. I now check those boards. I can't even say daily. I'm checking them multiple times a day. I'm getting the email notification every time anything's posted on any of those boards. And I'm scouring that stuff. I'm learning so much. So disboards.com, just scroll on down for the DVC forums. We'll make sure there's a link in the show notes page to all these things as well.
Can I say something about the forums again,
No.
too? They're just one little thing. So we have our Disney Vacation Club Resource Center on the forums. So if you're the kind of a person that really likes to get into the meat of stuff and you really like to analyze things and see charts and numbers and, just
everything you'd ever want to know.
Everything. Visit the DVC Resource Center on the board.
Thank you for reminding me of that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for reminding me of that.
There's so much good information there, and oh my goodness.
I could do several shows just on some of the threads that are on that on those boards. So enough of that. You get the point. Go to the boards. All right. So this week we are going to talk about what to expect when staying at Disney Vacation Club for the first time. And before we get into that discussion, I do have an announcement that I want to make, something I have been working on for, the last month and a half. I had mentioned, I think, when we started these shows that buying into DVC for me was evoking feelings very similar to the feelings I had when I first started the Diz. And that was 22 years ago. And it was a very specific feeling. It's impossible for me to describe it, but it's a feeling I've only ever had once before, and that was when I started the Diz. And it got me thinking, and I decided that I wanted to start another website. Something I have not done in the 22 years that I've done this. I've put all my effort and resources and everything into the Diz. But then I was struggling because I'm okay, if I want to create a website about DVC, I mean, we already have some great information on the DIS. I was just talking about the boards. And I'm like, I don't want to be insane for me to compete with myself. So what is this site going to be? And I started thinking about, okay, well, go back to when you started the DIS. What was in your head? What was that about? And I just, because you have the story you tell. Everybody asks, oh, what was it like when you started? And you have the story you tell. And it's an honest story, but I kind of left some things out in my own mind. It was extremely personal. It was never intended to be any of this. It was never intended to go in the direction that it went, become what it was. It was just very personal. I was creating something to share my passion with this topic that meant so much to me. So that became my answer for what this new website would be. So I have started my own blog. I have some friends that are going to be helping out with it. But it is dvcfan.com, which is an awesome URL. I was so happy that was available when I went to register it. So dvcfan.com, and I'm just going to be blogging my own observations and thoughts. There'll be some videos I'm sure I'll put up there, and I don't know where it will evolve, how it will evolve, or what it will evolve into. But I'm not, not posting point charts, and I'm not posting, resort information and things like that. This is all personal observations of mine and of some of my friends that I've invited to come and join in on this. And we're starting a Facebook group alongside of it, DVC Fan on Facebook. So links to all this in the show notes page. But I'm excited and nervous. Like I said, it's the last time I launched a new website. Truly launched a new website was actually Dreams Unlimited Travel, and that was November of 1999.
Wow.
So 20 years ago. And so it's a big deal for me. I'm not, and again, I don't go into anything like this with expectations that it's going to be this big, huge, awesome thing. It's a personal thing I wanted to do. And yeah.
And all of this, and you are a DVC fan. You are a DVC fan.
Well,
so,
I was always an admirer.
Yeah.
I was an admirer for many years, but then, you buy in and something happens. And, it doesn't take away the critical eye that I have, that I've worked very hard to develop over the last 22 years. As you will see in a video that is being posted alongside this show, my first stay as a DVC member at Boulder Ridge, and it features, for the first time ever, my mother, Madeline. She did this vlog with me. Mom is 88 years old. You will not believe it when you see the video, because nobody believes she's 88. She's as sharp as a tack, although you talk to her and she's going to say, oh, I don't remember anything. And Mom is as sharp as a tack, and she had been wanting to stay at Wilderness Lodge. She was a big part of the inspiration behind me buying into DVC in the first place. So I wanted her there for my first stay. I wanted to experience that with her, and we got a 2-bedroom at Boulder Ridge.
That's so very special.
And that kind of dovetails nicely into this discussion of my first, what to expect. Now, again, I've stayed in DVC villas before. We've reviewed them on the show, stuff like that. But I always review them from the standpoint of a hotel room that, I'm paying cash like I would pay for a hotel room, because that's how I did it. So this was a little different. And there were some observations that I made. And the first thing I want to say to people, and I mentioned this in the video that we do, about what to expect. Disney bills these as deluxe resorts. Now, that's not necessarily inaccurate. They are located in deluxe resorts. But if you have stayed and the hotel side of Deluxe resorts, you are going to notice some differences. So while these are located in Deluxe resorts, these are not Deluxe accommodations. They are Deluxe adjacent, is how I describe them. For example, the furniture in my room at Boulder Ridge is in desperate need. This furniture would not be in a Deluxe resort, okay? Even when it was brand new, I can tell you, it was
meh.
And some of the things that were missing, my mom pointed out, seeing the video, she pointed out that, when she goes to a hotel, she expects there even, if they're the pre-wrapped plastic cups next to the sink, don't exist. They're not there. Little things like that, and then the beds. And I'll say the beds were comfortable, but they were not the same. It's not the same bedding, and it's not the same mattress that they're using in the Deluxe resorts. So I think in terms of managing expectations, if you're used to staying at Wilderness Lodge, if you're used to staying at Beach Club, and you're going into your DVC accommodations expecting that same level of amenity, not there. Not there.
I gotta somewhat jump in on this because there are rooms that I've had that same feeling where I've gone in and I'm like, oh, this is not what I expected. Not in a bad way. I mean, room's beautiful.
Yeah.
Accommodations are great, but like when you're paying or when you're staying, I should say, in Deluxe accommodations, you think, oh my gosh, this is the best of the best. So there are rooms that will blow you away, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is way better than I ever could have imagined. It's so good. Like the bed's super comfortable. Beach Club is an example. I've stayed at Beach Club. Everything was brand new. It looked sparkling, perfect. It couldn't have been better. And then I've stayed at Old Key West, and I was like, I don't know, but it was still.
You were saying your first
stay ever. So my expectations were high. My first stay was actually at Old Key West. It was a 1-bedroom, and I was overcritical because I'd been selling Disney Vacation Club for 4 years, and then I became a member myself. This was back in 2004. So I stayed at Old Key West in a 1-bedroom. I'm all excited. Me and my wife, it's just her and I. Open up the door. I'm like, we're here. Like, look at this. And then, looking around, like kind of spotting, like, okay, all right. So there's a little bit of rust here. And, on the outside, we were on the balcony. I noticed some rust in one of the pipes that was coming down. I'm like, all right. Spider webs on the balcony. I was like, okay. It was awesome. But little things, just little things. But I've since stayed and just other resorts, and I've even gone back to Old Key West and never had that problem again. So I think there are certain rooms that you might get a meh.
Well, I know that Old Key West is in the midst of a complete rehab.
Right.
The rooms are almost done.
Yeah.
But Boulder Ridge, I can tell you from the condition of the carpet, the condition of the furniture, and other things I was seeing, this is either at the very end or past its rehab life cycle. These rooms should be done every 5 to 7 years. That's the normal life cycle for one of these rooms. Now, I know we did a 7-resort and 7-day series where we stayed in Boulder Ridge, and that was back in 2015, I think.
Yeah.
Was that one? I don't remember. It was either 2014 or 2015. And I was saying the same stuff then, and it was the same furniture then, and it was the same issues then. So we're going back 4 years, 3-4 years, and that was still an issue. That was an issue then. Like I noticed that there were stains on the couch, and in the video you see my mom brushing the dirt off the couch.
Oh my goodness.
And was like, okay, but the room was fantastic. The amount of space, the full kitchen, minus the popcorn bag. You got to watch the video if you want to know what I mean by that. The space you have, it was so comfortable and brilliantly themed. It was perfect. The lobby, I've been in that lobby before for Boulder Ridge. It's got to be the most comfortable place I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The dark woods, the
so natural, like
natural,
it's just,
and the little touches, and then all these little seating areas around fireplaces.
Yeah,
and it
takes your breath away.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So there was no disappointment whatsoever. I did not be like, oh, why did I buy here or anything like that. And believe me, if you've watched me for any length of time on these shows, you know that I would absolutely say, crap, I made a mistake. But I don't feel that way at all. But I do feel that staying there as a DVC member did change my perspective on it to a certain degree. And I think when you hear Disney say these are deluxe resorts, just replace deluxe with deluxe adjacent, because they are certainly very nice. But if you've never stayed in the deluxe resorts, ignorance is bliss, and you won't notice. But if you have, you're going to spot it.
I would say I realize you'd had the first stay. Give it a couple more tries. I mean, it is.
I absolutely will, but I have to. I need to. I need to be honest.
Yeah.
About.
Totally. I agree.
My experience.
Yeah.
And.
Yeah.
Like look, and people, when we first started doing the Diz Unplugged, people questioned how I could sell Disney World through Dreams Unlimited Travel, of which I'm a co-owner and co-founder of that company, yet come on my show and eviscerate them sometimes. I will never tell anybody don't go to Disney World, because I think you should. I think it's amazing. I'm just saying, when you go, pay attention to this and pay attention to that. Manage expectations. When my expectations have been managed and I go into something, I end up having a much, much better and much more positive experience than if I'm buying into all this hype.
That's good advice.
And all this sales stuff, and I'm expecting this, and then I go in and I'm let down. And I'm not going to say I was let down. I had this wonderful experience with my mom. And we had a great time. You watch the video. We had a great time. In the course of 2 days, we had such an amazing time. So, for me, it's important that people, and this is just my opinion. Your experience can be entirely different. And guess what? Neither one of us is wrong. And that's the wonderful thing about opinions. They're yours, and you're not wrong. And that's mine, and I'm not wrong.
Right.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say, too, is that Disney actually slightly differentiates them from a deluxe, because they say deluxe resort category
and deluxe villas.
And then deluxe villa category. So they sort of the word deluxe is still there.
And look, look, if we're going to compare across the entire spectrum of hotel experiences, it is a deluxe property.
Yeah.
Okay, it is. But that's not the comparison that's being drawn here. The comparison is being drawn to Disney's deluxe product. Now, I may stay in Beach Club. I may stay at Poly, Grand Floridian, or Boardwalk, somewhere else, and say, wow, okay, no, not deluxe adjacent, deluxe. I'm totally open to that. I can only speak to my experience in this room at Boulder Ridge and say deluxe adjacent. So maybe that'll be the designation, is like deluxe or deluxe adjacent.
Yeah, I stayed at the Grand Floridian one time in the concierge level at the hotel section, so it was amazing, beautiful, and we had the the hors d'oeuvres and the drinks and all that included with the stay. And then I've stayed at the DVC villas at Grand Floridian, and I mean, yeah, the catering was super nice at the concierge level at Grand Floridian, but the room blew my mind over at the villas. Like, the Grand Floridian was it was perfect. It was way better than and I have very high expectations. If I'm selling this and I want my clients to have the best, I'm expecting the best. And when I went, I was blown away. I thought it was better than what I thought it was going to be. So there are certain experiences that will be.
And I'm totally open. Like I said, I have to just report. what my experience was.
Of course.
And that one's so new, too.
And in terms of what to expect, the other thing that's different from staying in the on the hotel side is that you don't have daily housekeeping.
Right.
You can, if you want to pay for it. I believe it's like $40 or $45 a day.
Right.
If you want to pay for it. Otherwise,
they do a trash and tidy on the 3rd day and a full service on 7 days.
Yeah. So, but I'm the guy that, generally speaking, I'm just fine if housekeeping doesn't come in.
Right.
Because I usually have the do not disturb on my door, mainly because when I'm traveling, I'm usually traveling with equipment, and I've got my computer and my cameras and stuff in there, and I don't, there are times I don't feel like going through the whole hide everything so that nobody sees what I have in here thing.
Towel service as well. Are you familiar with the towel service? Yeah, so towel service, if you need fresh towels, they really don't bring you fresh towels in the villas. So the way around that is just the pools. The pools have fresh towels. You take your old towels.
Are you saying I can't pick up a phone and call and say, bring me fresh towels?
No. So
they won't do it?
They'll do it. I think they charge you for it. So again, the workaround is they have stacks of fresh towels by the pool.
Yeah.
You just take your old towels, dump them in the bin, and you grab a fresh set and you go back to your room. So yeah, the towels is a.
Okay, so when I say Deluxe adjacent,
you're right.
I'm right.
Yes.
Because if I've got to go,
your towels.
If I've got to go down to the pool to get my fresh towels. So what is it a housekeeping charge to get?
It's a housekeeping charge. I think they'll replace them on the 3rd day when they do the trash and tidy service. So if you hang them for 3 days, you get a fresh set.
I think it used to be called trash and towel, didn't it?
Yeah. I call it trash and tidy, but you're probably right.
Trash and towels, yeah. Because the thing is that they bill this as welcome home, your home. So a lot of times when you grab a shower, you just hang your towel up. You don't. Some people won't reuse it.
And I do that in hotel rooms as well.
Yeah.
They usually the rule is if you hang them up, you don't want them changed. If you throw them in the tub, you do.
Yeah.
I certainly do not change my bed sheets every day.
Right.
God help me.
Yeah, because who needs more work to do? Good grief.
Right.
So but these are things that are important to realize. And one of the things for UK visitors that somebody just pointed out to me in email today was that, and this is not just true with, I guess, DVC, but this is more on the hotel side, not DVC, that they don't get their magic bands. They have to wait till they get here.
Oh, sure.
Really?
They can't even order them.
That's right.
They can't even order them. They have to wait till they.
So there's no customizing, no nothing.
They can customize them, but they'll be waiting at the front
desk. They'll be waiting
desk.
at the front desk. They don't get them until they get here. But I think that's really more on the hotel side. That's a thing.
Would probably be DVC because even when you book your reservations through DVC, once you have a reservation confirmed, you can go and modify or customize a magic band with your name and color and all that. So same thing.
It would be the same. Yeah, so they would still get them with DVC.
Yeah.
What else? What else should people expect on their first stay?
I'll tell you what. The thing that most surprised us when we stayed DVC for the first time was that first night when you come back from the parks and your beds are a hot mess, just like you left them that morning because you had a 7:00 reservation at Chef Mickey's. So who's making beds that early, right? So that was a little bit of
making beds, period.
Well, that's right. Like, really, let's be honest. So you leave, and then you're like, oh, my. Then you walk back in, and you're like, oh, yeah. And then there's the morning where you eat breakfast in your room, and you just, throw everything in the sink and walk out the door.
Okay, by contrast, after spending a day out and about, and I come back to this 2-bedroom villa, right? All that space, it is so relaxing.
Oh, yes.
And especially just because I am somebody that does like space. I do like space when I don't like small hotel rooms. I prefer to stay in suites when I can. That room that I was in, that 2-bedroom, gotten that for cash was $1,200 a night. $1,200 a night.
Yeah. That's one thing
that puts those points in perspective. Like, okay, that felt good.
I love about when I leave DVC is again,
I don't get a bill.
I don't get a bill.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Disney, nothing's inexpensive. So when I don't get a bill and I'm home and I'm like, man, I just had a great little weekend vacation with my family and I didn't have to pay for that. That was amazing.
I'm glad you mentioned that
Right.
because I did charge some things to the room over the course of a couple of days. But when I get my bill and it's $186, I'm like, oh, that's nice. Because I'm used to seeing a lot different number.
Right. Yeah.
Add at least a zero to the end of that, if not more, and double it, depending. But that to me was a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
That was a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
That okay, yeah. Now, granted, I mean, you're paying for that in what you paid, whether you financed or bought outright. You're paying for that, but it really feels like okay, I'm really getting something for that money I paid.
Absolutely.
That.
Yeah.
Look at this bill.
Yeah.
Especially if you've done multiple vacations at Disney World and you're used to seeing that last day. It's bad enough you got to leave. Yeah. And then you go grab that thing off your door and you open it up. That's why I always just take them and put them in my luggage and I'll look at it when I get home because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
It's the last thing I want to see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and I have to say the only reason I mentioned the housekeeping even is we only felt like that the very first time that we first stayed.
First expectation, yeah.
Because then we knew. Then we were like, okay, the room is going to look exactly the same as we left it.
Yeah.
So, but there is nothing like coming back after a busy day at the parks with your family and having an actual living room space
Oh, yeah.
for everybody to just crash out on and talk about the day and sit around and did you see when so-and-so did whatever? And did you see when he saw Mickey for the first time and all of that? And you have a place to sit and it's not on, it's not you're not in a two-bed room where everybody has to sit on a bed.
Yeah.
You can look at each other.
Yeah.
And
Or you can put the kids in their bed, go out in the living room, have a glass of wine, and
It's
enjoy
wonderful.
something
Well,
There's
else.
nothing
especially if your spouse/partner has a different sleep schedule than you do.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's out on the computer in the living room and you're going to bed.
yeah.
That's really, 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 or vice versa. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Having that. And that's why we in the discussion we had about how many points to book, that's why I like the idea of a one bedroom at the minimum, because that's the kind of space I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what makes me comfortable.
a lot of clients are like, I don't need. I'm not going to be in the room. I'm just going to go to the parks. I'm going out to dinners. I'm not spending time in the room.
Yeah.
When you have that room, you kind of want to have that room. You want to relax. You want to spend a little bit of time because it's part of the vacation. It's helping you unwind from all that work you did to get there.
And
So
it's
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
It really is okay to go to Disney World and actually relax.
yeah,
Yes.
I realize that
Always.
for many of us, that's just not a reality, but it is acceptable to do that. It's a lot easier to do in a one bedroom. Trust me.
It just sounds so luxurious, and sometimes when people hear that other people cook when they're on vacation, you don't understand. It's you're on vacation, and so when you bring some stuff to just throw on yourself, it's not the same as cooking at home. It's just not.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. Like, for me, it's not like I was like, oh yeah, I'll throw a bunch of stuff in the crock pot and turn it on low at 8 a.m. and then we leave and it's dinner.
or just like coming back late at night. You have a frozen pizza, throw it in the oven.
Throw it in the
now
oven.
you got a little
Yeah.
snack. It's super nice. Just,
Yeah.
it's easy.
It's easy. It's everybody can chill. Some people can sit at the table. Some people can sit on the couch. You do whatever you want because you're on vacation, right? Maybe you don't normally eat in the living room, but you can because you're like it's like all the rules from home go out the window, and you've got this gorgeous place. Some of these villas are bigger than your house.
Yeah, they're nice.
I mean.
Oh, not bigger than mine, but
Well, no, but
bit.
but like when we stayed at the treehouse for the first time, I was looking at the square footage of that treehouse, and the treehouse was actually more square footage than our house back home in Seattle. Like, I couldn't believe it. I said to my husband, if we could just buy one of these, I could live here.
Yeah, and some of the views, like again, you can chill on your balcony. You can watch fireworks from Bay Lake Tower over at Magic Kingdom. You know, the Polynesian. If you have a Magic Kingdom or Lakeview, you can see the fireworks. I mean, there's
so
boardwalk.
many
I mean, there's just so many.
Well, and you know, I bought at the places I want to stay. I want to stay at Wilderness Lodge. I want to stay at Bay Lake Tower, and I want to stay at Beach Club. Beach Club because of its proximity to Epcot, Bay Lake Tower, its proximity to Magic Kingdom and Wilderness Lodge. I have at Copper Creek and at Boulder Ridge. That's relaxing.
Yeah,
It was like really hard to believe you're in the middle of Disney World. Sometimes when you're there.
Yeah. When you go for your first time in some of these places, you can't believe you're at Disney.
Right.
You can't believe it because it's different than any experience you've had from, you know, any of the other.
It's almost like the resort is its own experience.
It is.
And then you have more to do when you leave there. Like there's so many other things.
Well, that's it too. I mean, these resorts pretty much are their own experience.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think that's going to do it for our discussion on what to expect on your first stay as a DVC member. And we would love to hear your first-time stories. Podcast at disunplugged.com. Put first time stay in the subject line so we can spot it really quickly. And I think we'll do some follow-up shows to this and share what some of your first time experiences were as DVC members. And that will do it for our show. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back with you again next week with another edition of the Disney Vacation Club Show. Thanks for being with us.